Yep, Stuck in the Middle podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Uncle AK.
And I'm Reflex.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you feeling?
I'm great, man. Welcome everybody checking us out. Another week,
yes,
another
sir.
podcast, man.
Another week of a podcast, man. Hey, I love doing this podcast, man. Do you learn a thing or two every time we do
every
this?
day, man. Every day, actually, because, so we spend time with it throughout the whole week.
Mm-hmm.
Hope everybody, does the same. Appreciate y'all checking out.
Yeah, man. Follow us on all social media, SITM Podcast. We're on IG, Twitter, Facebook. You can follow this conversation. The email is sitmpodcast237@gmail.com. Email us with questions, comments, referrals.
Yeah. And this episode is sponsored by Perfect Office Solution. Listen, entrepreneurs in the DMV area, I keep telling y'all, man, you don't want people coming in your living room. That's not professional, you know what I mean? Get that 10% off. Promo code is SITM Podcast. Hit them up. Let them know we sent you. That's Perfect Office Solution. They provide affordable, professional, flexible private office spaces starting at just $4.99.
Yes, sir.
It's a sweet deal, man.
It's a sweet deal, man.
Yes, sir. Take it. Hey, we got special guests in the building. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Since Stuck in the Middle Podcast, entrepreneurs, innovators, lawyers, doctors, engineers. We got a doctor in the building.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We just had a doctor a couple weeks ago, and she's all the way from Germany, though. Listen, we have Love Nafi in the building. She's a medical doctor, physician, fitness, health, wellness influencer, creative visionary, a fitness focus finesse master. Listen, welcome to Stuck in the Middle podcast.
I'm so happy to be here.
Can you speak German?
Today. No, I cannot speak German. The extent is Dankeschön.
That's like thank you, right?
Yeah, that's about it.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to get.
Because them people be rude. You just need
All
to
I know is
guten
Morgen.
Guten Morgen. Yeah,
Is it?
good. Guten Nacht.
Is it true that they're like rude and... It's okay, be
they're
honest.
They're not rude. They're just straight to the point, which you can learn to appreciate over time. So, yeah.
What's the swag like out there?
They're not warm.
They're not warm?
Americans be like start talking to you in a line. They're not gonna do that.
What brought you out there?
So I'm actually there for work. Most people actually don't know I live in Germany because I'm so kind of like worldwide. Like I'll be in one country this time and some other state the other time. I fly back and forth so often, but yeah, I'm there because I work. I'm actually in the armed services. So.
What branch?
Yeah, Army.
Hey,
so
Army girl.
I'm a doctor for them. So doing my thing out there for the next 2 years, and then after that I don't know where I'll be. I don't know where I'll go next.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Yeah, come to Fort Meade, you know what I'm saying? So
Fort Meade.
You outdoor the entire family?
Huh?
You outdoor
I am. Me plus one and now plus two.
Yeah, man. Congratulations. We're going to get into all that.
Yeah, all
But
right.
I want to know, first of all, what Love Nafi or Nafi came from. Like, where did that come from?
Oh, wow. I think it's kind of been layers over the years. So my full name is Nafisat Olajumoke Shonekon, right? That's my maiden
Was that
name.
a sentence or it's like,
I mean, yeah, it's pretty intense. So growing up, you know how people they're not messing with that. They're not messing with my first name. So first of all, cut in half. So Nafi is most people call me growing up and kind of forever. So, I think during college or whatever, I was just trying to make something sound cool. So I put love in front of it, and that was the history.
like, yo, I promise you, fam, like, in doing research for this episode, it took me till last night, 2 a.m.
Why?
to know that your real name is not Love Nafi.
Oh, no, it's not. And I'm going to keep it that way. It's going to be like Queen Latifah. Like, Queen Latifah name ain't real. Ain't Queen Latifah.
fact.
It's something else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Uncle
how-
AK,
that's how
my
I
real
wanna-
name.
I had to
It's
go
just,
to your LinkedIn to find your real
Yeah,
name, fam.
yeah.
And I finally found it. I was like, I can't pronounce it, so I guess we're gonna stick with Love Nafi.
It's two sides of me. Like, there's a Love Nafi. Like, if you Google Love Nafi, a whole different set of things are going to come up than if you Google, like, my doctor name. Like,
So
Nafisa Almaru.
who are you? So for somebody watching right now who don't know who Love Nafi or who are you? What are you? You know what I'm saying? Like,
The man, I'm
Yeah.
a boss. Beep. That's me.
say it.
That's me. I mean, honestly, like, who am I? So I think most people, they know me as a doctor and someone who's like, health and wellness conscious type, that, and that in that kind of vein or stream. But for me personally, like in my mind, I mean, I know a lot of people don't really claim Oprah no more, but like I'm Oprah in my mind. Like that's just me in terms of what I want to do on the scene in the next couple years and decades. Like I really want to produce and do production. That's something that I'm kind of working on behind the scenes. I was heavy with it and I kind of built some momentum, but like I had to slow down for different reasons. But I think I'm always in the lab in my mind and at home, like every day I'm working towards something like that. So Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying, like there's a lot of passion, you know what I'm saying. I find a juxtaposition with, like, you know, production and then fitness, which you're always so big into.
But you know what? I feel like it all kind of just fell into my lap.
How?
I think so. When people say, "Oh, you know, I didn't even think I like," I sometimes I hear people, you know, you listen to interviews and people are like, "Man, I don't even know how I started doing this. It just started happening." Like that's how fitness was for me. Like I've always been someone who likes to exercise, but no more than like the next person, you know. So I literally went to start working with a new trainer. I want to say 2 or 3 years ago, and he was like, "You know, I think this is boring. Like we need to do something fun."
He
So,
said that?
yeah,
And he was a fitness trainer?
yeah, so he was like, "This is boring. Like, I don't just train people just to train. He doesn't train anyone who's like super obese. Like, he just trains like athletes." So he was like, "You know, you have nice shoulders. I want you to do a competition." And I was like, "Okay." And knowing me, so I'm the type of person, like, I'm very competitive. If you tell me to do something, like, my goal is to beat you. So once he told me like that, then that's it. Like it was. And the funny thing about it is, like, I didn't even finish the whole process with him. Like he like moved to Florida or something and just left me. He was like, "Oh, well, you're gonna have to figure out what you're gonna do." So I found another trainer and I finished, and that was very like another, I don't know, like I guess that made people look at me a different way. But I mean, I knew my body was not gonna like stay like that forever.
I want to let's park right there.
Like I was like, I mean, a lot of Africans were scared. Like some people, like there's a group of Africans that would like clap me up, be like, "Oh my gosh, wow!" And you know, you build a fan base from that. But then there are other people who are like, "I don't know what's going on. Like this is OD."
How about family?
Yeah, like my mom. So my parents, you know, I'm thankful. Like they've always been super supportive. Like anything I do, like even if it's some crazy stuff, they'll like come out. Like my parents came to my show. You know, like some Nigerian parents would probably not. They'd be like, "Nah, like you're tripping." But they came. But my mom still kind of gives me that side eye, like, "I'm glad you're done." But you know, I have my coach who's like, "When are we gonna do another one?" You know. So my husband's also super supportive. So I mean, yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
When you speak of a medical doctor, like what kind of medical doctor are you?
So I'm a family physician. So pretty much, and it's so funny, like in this area, in the DMV area, not a lot of people know what family physicians do. It's like maybe the rest of the U.S., they see them more. But basically, I can see like a little baby all the way to like an old person. And we pretty much take care of all their primary care needs. So we're very like versatile. Like it fits my personality because I'm a person who likes to be very autonomous, take my toolbox and like do things on my own. So we do minor procedures. We do regular stuff. Like we do checkups. I don't see colds all day. I see sometimes I have a very serious case and sometimes I have a very light one. Sometimes people just come see me because they need a hug. And that's my day.
Did you go to school to be a medical doctor and then go into the army? Just clarify for me a little bit. Oh, you went.
I'm not even old, but y'all have me like going back in my mind. So literally, so from college, I went to Bowie State for 1 year. That's how I know all the Africans in the DMV. It's from that 1 year at Bowie State.
Hey, what are you trying to say? All the Africans go to Bowie State?
Yes, and Howard and College Park. I was not going to College Park because I went to high school down the street. I went to Roosevelt. Shout out Raiders. Woo, woo,
Shout out Bulldogs. Bowie State.
Nah. So then, okay. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to College Park. So I went to Bowie State on a full scholarship actually, and I majored in theater and dance, but then they wasn't trying to let me really do what I wanted to do. So I rolled out and I went to NYU. And then there, so I went to this like weird school. I call it a weird school. It's called the Gallatin School of Individualized Study. Shout out to anyone who went there. But pretty much they let you
7 people.
Dog, but that school is tight, okay? They let you formulate your own major and like, you know, defend it like with a thesis at the end, like why you chose to make that major and stuff. I thought it was really cool. I mean, that kind of fits my uniqueness. So I did that, and I actually studied youth development through performing arts. Like that was my whole thing. I thought I was going to be like an educational policy, and I wanted to open up my own dance center and dance studio. Like it was a lot. And then my parents whole time were like, "Dog, what are you doing?" Like they were supportive, don't get me wrong. But I think they also just wanted me to, you know, like all Nigerian parents, it's like, you're so smart. Like, I think I've always been like, you know, a girl who was very smart in STEM and all that. So I did my pre-med requisites, and it's not easy. Like, I don't take it for granted. Like, not everyone can just be like, oh yeah, I did that on the tide and was all successful with it.
Yeah.
So I applied to 3 medical schools. And because I was like, I hope I don't really get into none of them, because I wanted to dance. Like, I was ready to move to LA and start trying out for commercial auditions, like doing tours and stuff like that, like real talk. So I got into my first choice, so then I just ended up going. I was like, well, I guess they like me, so it kind of fell into my lap. Like,
so transitioning into getting into the army. What was that?
So the army has this wonderful program called Health Profession Scholarship Program. So they literally pay for your school, everything. They pay for everything, and you owe them 4 years. That's the kind of down and dirty of it. There's different variations of that, but that's pretty much where I'm at with that. And for the most part, like, you know, I'm not in Afghanistan yet, so I'm good.
What rank do you
hold?
She took it all the way there.
I mean, I'm not there yet. I'm good. I mean, but you know, every day I just like,
Trump gonna mess around here this episode like,
you go.
Seriously.
Kim Jong-un, take this one.
I mean, it helps that I knew a lot of people in the military. So, you know, it kind of eased the fear and anxiety. But I was still very nervous around that time, because in my mind, I'm a rebel. Like, I'm not really like hood is what they call them. But I do it. I'm a captain, and probably before I get out, I'll probably make major. Yeah.
Going into the army, you know, with being a doctor, that's a little different, right? As compared to going in with no degree or...
Nah, so the army needs everybody. I mean, you'd be surprised. Like, I mean, most people with a degree can become an officer in the military and do something great. Like, even if you're a PR or whatever, army needs PR. Army needs branding. Army needs people who do production. Army needs people who do radio. Like, they need all of that. So there is no what we call MOS. There's no specific job that you can't really do in the army. They'll adapt you to make it work. They are sizing down though. They're actually sizing down. So yeah.
Why is that?
You know, the army's needs change. By the way, my views are not the views of the military. Yeah. My views are not the views of the military. I repeat again, but the army's needs change so much. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes depending on the budget, they'll upsize or downsize. It just depends on the political climate as well, too.
What was it like when you put that, you know what I'm saying, white coat as a medical doctor for the first time, really?
Oh, wow. Well, that brings me to match day, was just passed actually yesterday was match day. Shout out to everybody who matched. Man, it's an amazing feeling. I mean, medical school is no joke. Like, it's no joke.
How many years did you?
I think most people just block it out their minds. I mean, at least I did. Like, after it was done, I was like, oh man, PTSD, like, done. Yeah.
How many days did that? I mean, how many years did it take?
So medical school for everybody is 4 years. Then they have residency, which varies. That's the part that varies. So my residency was 3 years, but some people are on residency for 6 years or 7 years. Just depends on what you do.
What was the first thing you did when you were done? Like, oh man, no more school, no more residency.
Jeez. I think so. Definitely. I was lucky and blessed to go to a medical school where I had a good group cohort of friends who like became my lifelong friends. So I think like once we all mashed and was done with medical school, I'm pretty sure that consisted of like several series of turn-ups and like a trip.
You married then?
Yes, I would. No, not in medical school. I wasn't, but in residency, I got married. Yeah. Towards the end of my residency. Yeah.
What are some of the struggles being a black girl doctor?
Ooh.
You actually got a whole blog on your website.
I do. I mean, honestly, I think even now, still as a physician, like, you know, for me, like, I take pride in everything that I do. And even that, like, you can walk in a room and still feel like, man, I got to prove myself a lot just for this patient to really believe what I'm saying. You know, so I think that's something that I walk through every day that other maybe people, female or another race, male or another race may not have to go through. Is like, you can walk into a room, first of all, they're not going to think that you're the doctor. That's number one. And number two, when you do explain to them stuff, you have to almost over explain so they understand that, okay, I did my research, like my schooling wasn't just like a piece of trash and I know what I'm talking about, you know? So I think that to me is like the main struggle. Is like, as opposed to like someone who may be, older or white or male, can just walk in the room and just be like, all right, this is what I'm saying. And it could be total BS, right? No research. I've met so many people over the years who are, colleagues of mine, but they don't know what they're talking about. But because they look differently, another patient may take what they're saying more seriously. And that's why I want to like just stop and say, like, I think Michelle Obama said a quote, something like, I've been in a room with a lot of these, people who we look to as like big dogs or whatever, and they're not that smart. And I believe her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that competition you won, right? I'm looking at that picture right now, like yikes, like
Not yikes, like,
not yikes, like but yikes.
Either way, I'll take it.
Mess around, put me in a chokehold.
Either way, I'll take it. Either way.
It's like if I walk past, like, boom, I'll just start running and stuff. But anyways, how long did it take you to get like that?
Oh man, so that's a good question, because even now when I coach some folks, like, they think that it's like it took me, I think, from when I said yes, I'm gonna do this, until when I actually got on stage, about a year and a half, like a year plus. Yeah.
After.
Yeah, and it's like and that's like consistency. Like, it ain't like no breaks in the middle. Like, it was like 4 to 5 days a week in the gym every week.
What was your diet like?
Eggs. Just busting eggs and drinking it.
And in the beginning, like, when you bulking, like, especially for females, like, and dudes, like, you gotta eat. Like, that's the thing. I think, and that's another thing too. Like, people think that I'm like dieting not to eat. Like, no, like, people who look like that, they eat. Like, we eat a lot. And it's like, but people not really used to eating like that. Like, they're not used to eating like that whole standard 3 meals a day thing. I never did that. In fact, I really don't even know how to eat like that anymore. It's almost like always 4 to 5 meals a day.
Did having a child, congratulations, by the way, and having a family, did that put a pause on the body fitness and physique and training? And
so, fun fact, so literally, like, on stage I was pregnant.
Hey.
Like, I think like early, very early.
You knew?
So I knew like a week before the show.
Man.
That's real.
Shout out your husband, by the way. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Nah, he was like, man, this is what we gonna do. So, I mean, it's all good. I think I needed to say, either way, I would have taken a break. I would have took a break, because it's not an easy thing to do back to back. Though some people do it, but man, it's like very time consuming. Like, you have to be on another level of dedicated to like do back to back shows. I mean, but if I did do it again, my goal would be to, my coach actually wanted me to go pro. So there's like, you win a regional show, then you go pro, and you do like a national show. So I would do back to back just so I can get my pro card.
Yeah. What was your placement in this competition?
So in my class, so for novice, since I never competed before, I was first. And then in my class, I was second place.
How much money do you get from competing this?
You don't get jack nada for a regional show. Okay.
So all you get is just,
you get a trophy, and you say, so that's the one thing about this type of sport. Like, the individual sports that people don't really low-key care about. Well, I mean, people care about golf and stuff, but I mean, the ones where it's like, it's like you against yourself, that type of thing, like, it really is for you. I mean, the sport itself is very vain. Like, bodybuilding is vain. Like, you look in the mirror, oh, look at this line, you're flexing and all that. But I mean, I think for the most part, I took away that, man, like, if I want to be fit, I can be fit. It's nothing to me. I think people don't look at fitness like that. They look at it like, man, this is just so hard. Next, I ain't gonna do it.
So, you know what I'm saying, with your company, Finesse Fitness?
Yep, Fit Focus Finesse.
I said that 5 times fast.
Fit Focus Finesse, Fit Focus Finesse, Fit Focus Finesse, Fit Focus Finesse.
You can practice it. Whatever, you practice.
No.
What, you know what I'm saying, how do you train women? What are your goals? What are their goals when they come to you and all that? You being a bodybuilder and stuff like that.
Right. So, I mean, taking it away a little bit from bodybuilding, like when women come to me and they say, nah, this is what I'm trying to do, like, everyone has a different goal. And for me, what I basically help them do is attach a goal to fitness, right? Like, some people say, I want to lose weight, and I want to look good, but it's like, you don't really have no plan, you don't have no goal. Like, what are you really trying to do? So I try to help them formulate that, and I try to give them all the tools they need. I think a lot of the time, people go out into the world, they get a trainer, they get a nutritionist, or they get a confused as hell about what they really doing. And I try to like illuminate that for them through the program. So I not only kind of give them the scoop, but also like let them be empowered so that when they're done, it's like, oh, okay, I actually know what I'm doing now, and I feel like I can do this again if I needed to.
Up to the fellas, because I always hear women. Up to the fellas too. Like,
So you know
we
what?
need fitness training too.
So there are some other females I know that actually train and do a wonderful job, but I've had some men actually ask me for fitness advice, actually a couple, and I give it to them, but in terms of like actually coaching them, I haven't figured out that dynamic yet. Because I feel like, guys, I don't know, y'all could be difficult. Y'all can be difficult.
I ain't gonna go in there.
Yeah,
Does working out actually help with while pregnant help with a snapback body?
I think so. I mean, you got to be careful. You got to do what you can do. But I mean, first of all, like people say I have snapback. I don't feel snapback yet. But I feel like it can help with just kind of keeping you active. Like sitting around all day while pregnant can be fun. But after a while, it's not going to be fun. And me, I'm a busybody. So the fact that when I was pregnant, I was so limited in what I could do, I didn't really like that.
Yeah, I just want to confirm. I want to ask this question just to confirm a conversation that I've been having. This is just curiosity to kill the cat.
Okay.
Does working out actually drive sex? Like make you more wanting sex?
I think it can.
You said yes or no?
I mean, I can get medical or not.
Yes. Yeah, doctor now.
What? Does it help with sex drive? I think drive itself, I don't think I have enough evidence to say yes. But with the quality, then from experience, yes. If that answers your question.
With your body ripped like that.
With your body.
I mean, since we're being curious, can I be curious too?
What conversation is this?
With your body looking ripped like that, right? Can you actually feel every single, touch, caress, all that stuff? Can you feel it? Just wondering, because it's like you're too like it's just like.
So I mean, believe it or not, so this is one thing that I want all guys out there to know is that like, so for all the women who actually look like that, all they need to do is eat. Once they eat, they gonna be the ones that y'all really like, oh dang, she thick. Yeah, because it's the muscle that creates that shape. So yes, I mean, maybe when I'm at my smallest, like, yeah, you're masculine, you may not have a lot to grab onto, but once you fill out, I mean, you debate. So I encourage all women to actually lift weights because you create the sculpture that you need. So I think there's a big stigma against it, but y'all just don't know. Y'all don't know the plug.
Pivot and transition. Okay. You got Yoni retreat coming up.
Yes, I do. It's in 1 week.
Plug it in. What's that about?
So it's gonna be on Sunday. This Sunday coming up. Not tomorrow, but the 24th.
20-some.
Yes, the 24th. It's gonna be at Ghost Gym, Richie Marlboro Station, and pretty much it's gonna be an event for all the ladies, specifically moms, but not even those who aren't moms, to come out and basically just talk about what is plaguing them. I think a lot of times during pregnancy, and just thinking about pregnancy or after pregnancy, women are just kind of like all over the place. I mean, and it's just a kind of an open forum for them. And then also we're going to have a lot of great vendors there. People talking about skincare, talking about vaginal health, which is something we don't talk about enough. Talking about fitness during pregnancy and beyond. And it'll be a good
What
deal.
is yoni?
Yoni. So yoni kind of refers to like the womb and the female parts. So that's why.
Just give us a quick teaser of vaginal health. You know what I'm saying, like as far.
So I'm not an expert on this.
You're gonna have speakers and stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a speaker on it. But in terms of, I mean, I do women's health, but I do women's health to the extent like, oh, you want to come get an IUD, and like that's me. But these people are more like
who's IUD. Went and got stuck and she lost the uterus in her legs.
Oh, they only share those stories, Sha.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, but
that's wild stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they're sharing those, so women could watch out. Like, this is real.
True. But that is a rare occurrence. that's my medical hat coming on. But yeah, I think so. A lot of people, vaginal steaming and things like that is something that's becoming a little bit more popular, I guess. People, and actually, I had an interesting conversation with my mother-in-law the other day. So pretty much, and both my mother, they were telling me like to do this thing after I got pregnant. And I know this is like super like girly, but sorry guys, you guys gonna have to just pardon me. But they were like, oh, after you're pregnant, like put some steam down there. I'm just like, what is that? And now, you gave them your look, like when your parents tell you stuff, you're just like, what is this? Like some old school mess. So turns out, like, once I like talked to them more, I was like, oh, you guys are talking about vaginal steaming, which is the thing here in America. Like, people do it and make money off of it and put herbs in it and market it. So whole time it probably stems somewhere from some woman in Africa. So yeah, I mean, they really do believe it has, health benefits. So yeah.
Man.
Ladies, pull up to that Yanni event retreat. It's March 24th.
What you laughing at?
11 a.m.
I want him to do the commercial for us now, because like, imagine him being the real commercial, right?
Hey, like, let's put up in the vaginal retreat.
Pull up in the vaginal retreat.
Vaginal steaming retreat. Hey, listen, Mo. Pull up though in 2 Sundays.
No, one Sunday.
What Sunday? What time?
Sunday now at 11 o'clock to 3 p.m.
Where can they sign up?
They can sign up on yoniretreats.splashthat.com.
Yeah. And you can find more information on her personal website and blog. Speaking of which, you got a blog post on the steps to stress-free living and mental wellness. Mm-hmm. So we're big on mental health in this podcast. Mm-hmm. And this platform. What's your experience with mental health?
Man, like I have so many perspectives. Like, man,
the stigma associated with it.
I mean, so I think nowadays, I think people need to start looking at like mental health as something that, like, I guess when you're a physician, like, you start to look at everything like a cold, like it comes and goes. Like, some people will have depression or anxiety, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily going to have to deal with it forever, or that they're going to be plagued by it forever. It just means that they need to deal with it. And I think that's how I look at any type of, almost any disease. Like, when I'm looking at things, I don't look at it as like, man, like they have depression, like they suck at life. I'm looking at it like, okay, well, you have depression, like let's fix it. So, and it's okay. Like, I've been depressed before. I've seen a counselor before. Totally normal. Like, it doesn't bother me to even say it out loud. Like, because that's how that's how much I removed the stigma from it. Same thing with like being anxious or anxiety. Same thing. I think everyone does at some point in their life, is just, and it may manifest differently. Like, people may not even know they're experiencing it, and it's like they come in, I'm like, oh, like this is what the problem is. Right. So that's kind of like my overview of mental health in general. But I feel like it's becoming increasingly hard to target, like to recognize, because of the society we live in, and also increasingly hard for people to like, because like I feel like social media, unfortunately, is like a big part of it. Right? Like, people, like, okay, for example, like being like your phone, for example, right? Like, if you lose your phone, like, I guess back in the day, if you lost your phone, you'd probably be straight.
IG was down for 17
but
hours.
Now, dog, really, like 17 hours, like, people lost it. I mean, people have phone anxiety. Like, they can't let go of their phones. They can't let go of social, like, so you have to really train yourself to do a lot of these things.
And when IG was down, I was on Twitter. Like, Twitter was fun, man. All day Twitter was fun.
I open up. I never be on Twitter.
People was on Twitter. I was like, yo, what is? I even follow you.
Like, we were out there laughing, twitting, going at each other. Like, it was.
They need social media where people just air their stress, their cares and concerns and bags and stuff.
I realized that with Twitter. I think Facebook used to be that, but then Facebook got too visual as well. I think it's the visuals that make it so. I mean, not to say that Twitter doesn't, but the emphasis on words on Twitter. On IG, everything is just so visual. Like, your picture got to be tight.
How do you feel about this era in which we are, this sensitive era? Like, you can't really say what you're thinking without fear of somebody coming at you, like, being sensitive or being receptive to what you're saying. Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, that I think that, man. Let me think about that question. Like, you can't really say anything about without anyone feeling some type of way. I mean, now it's just like we have to become so tactful in everything that we do, which is kind of like what I hate, right? So with social media, like even before you post, like let's say you were gonna post something that was really controversial, you'll like think of a tactful way to say it in order for it to fulfill different goals you have in mind. Like not only for it to spark conversation, but for people not to be too offended, or for it to like maybe say it this way so that it can get this amount of attention, or like it's silly.
Yeah.
No one can really be like raw and real. It's like rare that happens, unfortunately. And it didn't used to be like that, but I think it's too much. Sometimes now it's a breath of fresh air, right? Because you don't see it often. So when you do see, you're like, wow.
And you mentioned earlier, a lot of people don't claim Oprah. What did that mean? What she do?
I love Oprah, but Oprah be messing up. Oprah don't got the black card. Oprah black card almost revoked. Like, especially with the Michael Jackson thing that she just did.
Oh, yeah,
she
yeah.
about to get her black card revoked for the 8th time.
But I mean, like as much as I don't,
She said for the 8th time.
as much as I'm not with what she just did, like nobody actually stopped and questioned her. Like, yo, why did you start this? Like all these people, with grand platforms who could actually talk to Oprah.
Because Oprah
Nobody
got
asked her
the
that
juice.
question.
Like Oprah, like her power is low key. Like she's so deeply rooted in like production and like, I mean, let's not even get into like the whole Monique controversy, but like stuff like that. Like people are probably fearful. Like if I was a person, I wouldn't want to mess with Oprah. I'd be like, okay.
I mean, got them Jay-Z tabloids.
Dog, I'm not messing with Oprah. I'm not messing with Oprah. I'm trying to be on ABC.
Yeah, it's kind of like a beehive. They're gonna follow you.
Dog, exactly, right? Like no one's like out there like coming for Beyonce. Let me look at Keisha go. Like it's done.
Oh, it's like 50 Cent Jaru.
I mean, it's done. Like like not. And then you gotta wait till you get up there.
Yeah. Coming back to Love Nafi though, you know what I'm saying? Like how much longer are you in the States, and what's next for you in Germany and family and fitness and everything?
So that's a good question. So I think being a mom like really had me question like, man, what do I really want to do? I mean, for most people, looking at me from the outside, once people become a doctor, it's like, oh man, you're a doctor, you're good. In my mind, like I've not even like started in all the goals and stuff that I want to accomplish. So I think right now, I mean, I have a rolling basis of people who I coach, and I think that's beautiful. Doctor is my day job that helps me pay my bills and also helps influence lives all over. But I think ultimately what I really, really want to do is get another project underway. I mean, it's not like I'm having writer's block, but I got to figure out what's inspiring me at the moment. Figure out what I want to work on. In the past, I've done a web series. We did a little spiel, Shades of DMV, which is a little pop. But then we me and my partner Nadia Sassal, putting a plug for her, we pretty much wanted to make sure that we gave a quality project and platform that would be very realistic to first gen Africans here, and we weren't going to do it unless it was like tip top. I'm not releasing no more trash, So I think what people don't understand with production is that sometimes it takes a while. Like you look at people like Issa Rae, who I've been following since 2008, 2009, when she was still on YouTube. Like it's almost 10 years later. Okay, she popped like 2 years ago. Right. So I'm okay with that being my story as well. I think things take time to brew. So you just gotta wait and see, man.
And there's some packing pops like 30 something.
For any young girl out there or boy, who wants to go into medical school, what advice you have for them?
So for medical school advice. So I actually used to be on my medical school admissions committee, so I get this question a lot just by default of people who reach out to me, whether through IG or because somebody told them to. But I think you just gotta that's another thing, be you. Like everybody's story, like when they be reading these essays, it's like, oh, I wanted to help people. Like nobody wants to read that. I'm telling you right now, don't put that verbatim. Like figure out some way to just be yourself. I think that's the biggest thing that we can do in this day and age when everybody is just like trying to just do something. Like just be rawly yourself in your essay. I mean, obviously you got to have your academics and stuff that's there. Try your best, but I mean, in terms of like my schooling, like when I got to college and medical school, like I was a B student all the way through. B. And yeah, I'm here.
Look
here.
at you now. Traveling
we here.
You know what I'm saying?
Shoot, right? 79.9. Like that's me. But once you get the paper, nobody cares. No, who's asking me that? Who's asking me what I got in Orgo? Nobody.
What about the girl, that girl sitting on the couch right now who wants to go to the gym, work out?
Wants to be the Lex Love Nafi.
Exactly, what advice do you have for them?
So a lot of women in the gym, they're afraid of the guys. Like, I don't want to go lift beside them because they got these big weights. My advice to you, screw all the guys in there. When my set is ready to go, I'll be like, are you done? Yeah.
Because
like,
you can.
just do your thing. No. Don't be afraid of this gym. Just do what you got to do. Like, I think that for any woman who's trying to get fit, you just gotta, I think our biggest enemy is ourselves. Man, just get out there and just do it. Don't care what anyone thinks. People will say, oh, if you have a goal, like, oh, you're looking like this, so don't do this, you're gonna look like this. I mean, I haven't had anyone who said I look bad in person, so.
Yeah, the reason why I don't go to the gym, man, is I'm a germaphobe. Like, everybody just gonna touch and then come to
That's what gloves are for, and hand sanitizer is for,
Mm-hmm.
and the wipe down machine is for.
Cut your hat. Your hat is not even clean.
Bro, why you coming for me?
Oh, sorry. But anyways, just do it.
Just do it.
Do
I
it.
mean,
You know what
pretty
I'm
much.
saying? We always got to end with this question. Success is relative, but what is success for you?
Man, that's a great question. I think success is being self-actualized. You guys know about Maslow's pyramid? Nah.
Let me break it down for us.
Maslow, excuse me. Man, so like on the bottom is like all your daily life needs, like you eat, you drink, or whatever. Then I think they put like sex or something in intimacy, like one step above, and like family somewhere in there. But at the top is self-actualization, meaning that you feel like you fulfilled your purpose and whatever that is. So it doesn't matter how many degrees you have, how many awards you have, but if that one thing inside you is not self-actualized, then you haven't really reached success. So figure out what that is for you, and then go for it. Everyone will tell you to stop somewhere along the line, but you just got to keep reaching what is that for you.
Man. Hey, she got a plane of cash. She going to Germany, y'all. Dankeschön.
Dankeschön.
What's there to join? Like, what's there to do in Germany in terms of like clubbing? Did they have clubs out there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everywhere. First of all,
These guys.
man.
My goodness.
No, it's everywhere. And let me tell you, Afrobeat is everywhere. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Afrobeat is heavy in
Afrobeat
Europe
in the
and here.
villages. Okay.
I would love
In
to hear
Germany.
Afrobeat translated in German.
It's like
It's gonna sound just like that.
Hey, listen, we've
What
had the
the-
pleasure of speaking with medical doctor Love Nafi. Oh man, she's awesome. She's a fitness guru.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If you want bulk up and look nice and cut and neat,
Yeah.
hit her up.
Neat.
Yeah.
How can people reach you?
Man, so I'm everywhere. Info@lovenafi.com goes right to me. Or you can hit me up on IG, love_Nafi, NAFI. I'm on Twitter with the same name, Facebook. That everybody got. So
Can I hit you up for that military discount though?
Yeah. Try to steal my cat car. Oh no.
Oh man, she said I'm too much. Okay, hey, listen, if you love what you heard, stuckinthemiddlepodcast.com is where you can find more information. We are on YouTube. This episode is being cut in form of a check by Perfect Office Solution. I gotta listen for it. He could kill me. Hit him up, promo code SITM podcast. You get 10% off. Nafi about to do that, so you go do that. Get that 10% off. They sponsor this episode. We appreciate you coming through. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Come back.
The email is sitmpodcast237@gmail.com. Again, for comments, questions, referrals, refer your friends, all them business entrepreneurs, refer your friends with Course talking about share the experience and all that jazz.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hit that subscribe button.
Yes,
Turn
sir.
the ringer on. Share this podcast, screenshots, links, and all that with your ex-boyfriends and friends and enemies.
Grandma.
This is Stuck in the Middle Podcast.
And we are
Y'all crazy.
out.